Welcome back to Sports Talk ATL. I am Chase Earl, joined by Jake Gordon and Alex Ford. We have drama in the SEC when it comes to the new schedule when Texas and Oklahoma join the conference. They are deciding whether they want to go with an 8-game SEC conference schedule or a 9-game. Jake, break this down for us.
Yeah, so basically what we're looking at here is there's a case for a 9-game SEC schedule and an 8-game. The 9-game is the one you've probably seen with the pods. You get 3 permanent opponents, and then you rotate through. It's not a bad idea in theory. And then the 8-game schedule, you'd have 1 permanent opponent, and you would still have the rotation. So they're not going to have conferences anymore. That's still what we're basically getting at here. So the issue that they're running into is now ESPN, since they own the rights to the SEC, they're going away from CBS. ESPN is now saying that they want the 9-game schedule because, they get an extra game to broadcast. But the problem with that is that these SEC teams would have to buy out some of these non-conference games. Like next year, I think Georgia has like UMass and I can't remember somebody else, but they would have to buy one of those teams out, and every SEC team would have to do that. And a lot of these athletic departments don't have that kind of cash laying around. And I think there's a simple solution to that. If you are ESPN, just pay for the buyouts. Like if you want the extra game, pay for the buyouts. But yeah, it's looking like right now, I think that it's going to be they're going to start with an 8-game and try to move to the 9-game. But like Nick Saban and Kirby Smart both do not like the 9-game schedule just for that reason. Because it used to be Nick Saban was always saying, "Oh, we need to play more conference games," and I think Kirby said the same thing. But yeah, I mean, it's just turned into it's turned into a money thing, which is not surprising at all.
Yeah, Saban's biggest gripe with the 9-game is more about the 3 permanent games. It would be LSU, or what they projected. It would be LSU, Tennessee, and Auburn, which is a terrible draw. I get it, but those are your most important games in terms of rivalries. And in my opinion, I love the out-of-conference games because you don't get them so often. And LSU plays USC in Vegas in Allegiant Stadium. I mean, I want to go to that game. It's going to be awesome. But I don't want those games at a cost of all the SEC rivalries. Like, I don't want to give up these SEC rivalries in favor of out-of-conference games and things like that. I don't want one permanent game. So who's would LSU be? Bama or A&M? Or Arkansas or the boot.
Well, it wouldn't be Bama because Bama would be Auburn.
Yeah.
But, so even like Alabama. Alabama's not going to play Tennessee. Georgia's going to play Florida. Georgia's not going to play Auburn every year. Like that presents a lot of problems. In my opinion, too, you can't not have Bama LSU every year. You can't not have Bama Tennessee. You can't not have Georgia Auburn. Like these are the games that people get up for. Yeah. Like this, even like Georgia Tennessee. Like that's not even a huge rivalry. I mean. Tennessee, Florida wouldn't be permanent opponents. Like, there's so many games that you're going to be missing on.
Yeah, I like the out of conference, especially since teams are going more to the big out of conference games. But I don't know if you went and had a 9-game SEC schedule, like there would definitely be no more big. I mean, would they keep the big out of conference game and read the crappy one?
What would be the incentive at that point?
I mean, I think the incentive, especially when money. I think money. Also, I think those games are good for playoff rankings. I mean, now that you have 12 teams, like you go out there and beat a Florida State. Like if you're LSU next year, and let's say you have a 9-game schedule, and let's continue with the fact that we have to play Florida State. You go out and beat Florida State booty. You beat them all. You beat the brakes off of them. You win that game, then you come back into conference play, and let's say you lose 3 games, you're getting in. Like there's a benefit. You're getting in strictly because you beat the hell out of Florida State, who probably could be the team you're comparing resumes, or maybe it's a Clemson or whoever it is. So I think there is. I mean, you're wearing yourself down. Like, don't get me wrong. There is some sense of like you could be wearing your team down if you play all of those big opponents. But I don't know. I do agree that, listen, if it's a choice between one or the other, I think you got to go with the three teams. Because you got to have those games. Like you have to play LSU, Bama. You have to play Georgia, Auburn. Like you have to play Tennessee, Florida. Like these games have been even the oldest people. My dad, 60 years old. Like that's what he grew up on. It's not even just me. Like that's what this whole entire conference has been built on. And I just don't think you can take away those rivalries. They're too good. They're too great. It's also you got friends that went to those schools. the experiences you get with that. Yeah, it's cool going to Texas. It's cool going to USC. It's cool planning a trip down there, but I don't know how you have it without those rivalries.
You also have to consider like the balance thing. Like I've seen a lot of things where it's like, oh, we'll just have, like if you have two super hard teams, we'll give you Vandy, we'll give you Mississippi State. Well, maybe not with Vandy, but stuff like that changes. Like some of these teams get good and some of them fall off a cliff. Tennessee fell off a cliff for a decade.
Yeah, I don't think you can look at how good a team is now and like judge like they're going to keep.
It needs to be the rivalries. Yeah,
Tennessee was gone for 20 years. Like Auburn is off and on good. LSU has not always been good. They've been good the last 20 years, but like they haven't always been like a powerhouse. So like it's hard. Like it's not everything's going to change. So I don't think you should get too upset about that. But yeah, we're going to talk about a lot more of this after the break, including some comments from Kirby Smart and Nick Saban about the SEC championship game.